Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Grease and Grace.
Too loud.
My name is Jordan, and joined with me, as always, is
Kim. But
Okay.
I am.
Go ahead, Kim.
What?
Go ahead, Kimberly. Go ahead.
So here's the situation, guys. This week I drive hard. Jordan had asked if we could record an hour earlier, and I completely forgot. And so I had meetings and stuff like that like overtook, and so I was at all of those all day yesterday, and we couldn't really figure out how we were going to do this week's episode. I'm driving right now, so I'm in my car. It's super weird to not be across the table from me, though.
It is kind of different. The other thing is, like, I can definitely hear, like, the road. Like, so people who are listening to this right now, they're going to be like, what is happening? Like, can you do that? Or, like, is that legal? It is 100% legal. Kim is on her Bluetooth on her car. It's just like somebody who is sitting in the passenger seat talking. So for those of you out there that are like, I don't like this. This is unsafe. You could just pump the brakes because it's fine. We're all good.
Both of my hands are on the steering wheel. I am a safe driver.
Yeah, so just slow down before you, like, give us all the feedback on that. So anyway.
Calm down, Tina.
So if the call gets dropped, we're just going to redial. It's all good. We'll try not to freak out. You know, all that other stuff. But, hey, speaking of mixing it up, which we do all the time, why not mix it up in regards to our audio? So this just is what it is, right? So we're going to make Kim's drive a little bit better today because she's got 2 hours on the road. We're going to tackle this podcast because we can, and everything's going to be fine. So just sit back, relax.
It is like gray outside.
It
and
is
so like
super weird.
I needed something to keep me awake because I bought myself some coffee, but I don't like to drink coffee while I'm on the road because when I'm driving, I just want to get there. Coffee pulls all of the liquid out of your soul and then makes you have to go to the bathroom all the time. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation instead of me drinking coffee.
So if you guys like this or if you don't like this, you're like, hey, never do this again, just let us know. greaseandgracepod@gmail.com. Don't worry about it. We'll take all of your criticism, even if it's constructive. We're good with that.
Absolutely.
All right. So as you guys know, every single week we take on a new topic. We dive into the greasy and the graceful aspects of the life that we live in. Sometimes it's current events, sometimes it's pop culture, and sometimes it's just a thing that we think needs discussed, like the ocean. Regardless, we're here, which is last week's. So if you're listening to this, go ahead and listen to last week's. We're here to give you...
We did get some feedback.
Oh, you did?
That. Somebody was like, yeah, people were like genuinely surprised that I personally was also super surprised that we were able to talk for an entire hour.
Oh, we can talk for 3 hours about anything. Like, yeah, that's not, like, people should not be surprised about that.
Yeah, somebody was very surprised. They were like, good on ya. They also had commented about the teacher episode, and she had mentioned she has a daughter who was like me in school, and so she very much appreciated hearing that side of the hearing my side of having to go to school and hearing how teachers are just trying to do their best. So it was a nice little feedback, and it started a nice conversation. So I'll be emailing her back here shortly.
Sweet. Hey, we appreciate when you guys contribute in regards to giving us like any email or comment or anything like that. So keep those coming. That absolutely helps us. We give a unique blend in regards to those topics of humor and insight. And so this week is our first revisit. And what a revisit is essentially is we talked about a specific topic in the weeks past, and we wanted to revisit it. And the topic that we're talking about today is the Olympics.
We didn't want to revisit it. We needed to revisit it. Because as I watched, I told Jordan, like, I sent Jordan some videos. It was crazy. I have taken notes. I have something.
It is quite the ride. So we're not going to give, so here's the deal. When we talk about this, we're not going to give the explanation like we gave from last week. So usually what we do is we give like a definition of what we're talking about. We give some background and some of those things. But we are going to still do the greasy and the graceful side of things. And when we talk about the greasy side, we're going to dive into the nitty gritty, the challenges, the controversies, all that stuff in regards to the Olympics that we were like, that was messy. Then we're going to go to the graceful side and maybe, just maybe, find some hope and inspiration in that mess that was 2 weeks of the Olympic Games. So, Kim, last week I wanted to talk about the ocean so bad. I was so excited about it. This week, the tide has turned and we are completely into your camp because this is your episode. Give me your first greasy side of the Olympics.
Okay. So oh my goodness, there's so many. I don't know if I have more greases or if I have more graces, but the first, we're going to start with the opening ceremony. And it, not for the reasons that like it blew up on social media, right? Like, I know that you don't spend too much time on social media, but like when there are major events, I like to just kind of like scroll my page to see what people have to say. And man, did people get mad at the opening ceremony. Did you watch it?
So I am a contributor when it comes to social media. I am not a consumer. You are correct. I don't go on there and like get like stuff. Like I just don't want to see pictures of your dog. Like that's not where I live at. However,
that's so cute showing it.
However, there were people that sent me stuff and they were like, "Hey, this is ridiculous." And I'm like, first of all, it's a secular event, so let's just think about that. Like we can't
calm down, Sheila.
So like you're asking people to act in a way that you act, and that doesn't always happen. So like, you know, we have to pump the brakes on that. So there is an app, it's called Strava. And Strava is a way to like essentially log. It's a social media site to log your runs or your bikes or things like that. And there were a considerable amount of athletes that logged their walk in the opening ceremonies.
Did they really?
Oh yeah.
The Strava app, isn't that like where people run? Is that what people normally use it for? Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard of that app before, but they did.
I thought it was kind of cool. Like, I was like, all right, it's not a greasy or a graceful thing. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. Like, that's how many miles you walked, you know, just in that little span. Anyway, but give me some specifics on regards to the grease side of the opening ceremonies.
So for starters, the opening ceremony happened at my best friend's daughter's birthday. So I was kind of paying attention, but also was trying to be like, yay, it's your birthday, but like, let's watch the Olympics.
Because I podcast.
So I,
Oh, we're losing you, Kim. You're going through a tunnel or something, so we're going to have to start that little dialogue over again. Well, hold on, Kimberly. Hold on to that thought just a second. I
was so confused about. Did you lose me?
Yeah. All right. Start that whole dialogue back over again. So you're at your daughter's,
okay.
Or not your daughter's. You're at your friend's daughter's birthday.
I have a daughter. No. At my birthday, but so trying to help them. They won, but like, so I was so confused by what was happening. Like the theatrics, I don't remember ever having a opening ceremony.
You're totally breaking up. Where are you at? Are you in Michigan yet?
I'm in Michigan.
Oh, there we go. That's probably the problem.
Oh.
Anyway, you don't remember the opening ceremonies. That's what I got clearly. Yeah.
I don't remember the opening ceremonies being as theatrical.
Oh, yeah.
As they were this year.
Yeah, I could totally understand that. Like there was a little bit of, I mean, it's always kind of been like a promotion, but
production.
Or production, sorry. Yeah, it is kind of a promotion too in regards to like all the advertisements and stuff like that are out there. But yeah, keep going.
That's true. Yeah, it just and it was cool. Like, don't get me wrong, because I understand that like it's to, I don't know, illuminate the culture within the country that the Olympics is being held in, which I am already like, what are we going to be watching for the LA Olympics that happen in 4 years? Because like, what culture is there? Like plastic surgery? I don't know what culture Los Angeles has.
We're gonna change your face.
Like, they're gonna perform like a liposuction for the opening ceremony. I don't know, but anyways, so it was cool because like I like watching, like I've enjoyed the story of Marie Antoinette, and I know that they like follow the French Revolution and kind of finalized with like the off with her head thing where Marie Antoinette was in the windows holding her head singing. Did you watch the Olympics opening?
I didn't, so I'm totally clueless on everything you're talking about.
Oh goodness. Yeah, it was the strangest thing, and there was a dude who was just like carrying the torch, but he was like, his face was hidden, so I don't know if like there was any kind of a reveal or anything like that. It was just a super strange thing. And on top of that, I was so like greased out. I'm going to say that. That might be a new term. I was so greased out by how many celebrities were commentating.
Okay, so that brings me into mind, because what is Snoop Dogg doing here? Like, he is the face of the 2024 Olympics in Paris. First of all, you're not from Paris. Second of all, you're known for smoking weed. You're known for drive-by shootings, gang activity, and we're like, let's throw him in the forefront of everything. Like, why are you there? I'm sorry. That like this is where you across the table would be beneficial, because I can't see your face.
Yeah, and they had like Flava Flav for what was it? Was it water polo?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was so frustrated with it, because I was like, once again, and it is the same thing that issue that I have for politics, and we're not going into politics or anything like that, but this is the best representation we have.
Right.
And so I had kind of like mentioned it, that it bothered me while other people, and they're like, oh, I love it. And I was like, why?
I don't get it.
I think it was, I don't know if it was Josh. I don't know if it was Josh or if it was somebody else, but they were like, but he's an entertainer. He's doing a great job at entertaining us. And I was like, my mom and I were talking about it, and I was like, but I'm not trying to be entertained. My entertainment comes from watching these people do these amazing physical feats in the sport of their choice.
Yeah, like I remember the gymnastics one that I watched. They would cut to like celebrities. I'm like, nobody cares. Like, this is not your time to shine.
This is not your moment.
It would be like, which they do, I guess. Like, I mean, if you're at like a sporting event, like tennis does this a lot, right? Like they show like the celebrities that are there. But in the same breath, I'm sitting there, I'm going, these are Olympic athletes. You've worked your entire life for this, which is 14 years if you're a gymnast. And you're like, and we're sitting there going, well, Snoop's here.
Yeah, and like people got like genuinely excited for that. And I'm like, no, you should be excited for these people who are like running in world record breaking time, swimming in world record breaking time. Don't be excited for Snoop. Like, yeah, cool. He's something, but like this isn't his moment.
Yeah, this is not his moment, and it was very apparent that they were trying to entertain. And I'm like, these are the games. Like, you shouldn't have to entertain at all. Like, everything's okay. You have all these, individuals who, again, are here. They've done the work. Like, let the sports speak for themselves. And it wasn't just Snoop. Like, I don't want to go right into like him and just like be like him, because this is going to move me into my second greasy thing, which is, what is Michael Phelps doing?
Oh my goodness. When that man popped up on the screen, I was like taken aback. Like I had to clutch my pearls because I was like, who's this man? He had a man bun.
Okay, so like this, we're moving away from the celebrities and into like the Olympic athletes, and I love that. Like I think that's great. Like now we have a true commentator, right? Like somebody who's been there before, knows what's going on, knows what's happening. But at the same time, it's kind of like him and Snoop Dogg were coming together, and I'm going, what, are you guys friends? Because let's backtrack to the Olympics just a few years ago. You got busted for marijuana, and it's like,
that's why they're friends now.
And that's what I'm saying.
Like, hey, yo, man, I've been doing this for years. Let me teach you about this game.
Like,
and Michael Phelps was like, well, I ain't got nothing else to lose, so let's go.
what table did people sit around and they're like, hey, who could we get that would be great for the Olympics? I know, Snoop Dogg. And so they're like, all right.
I wonder how he got into this. Because it's not just the Olympics. Like
he's in everything.
I think it was Martha Stewart.
He is in hockey.
He started.
He is in all these. Oh yeah, like he has done commentary. Like it's almost like he's breaking into the commentary world. But at the same time, that table, those people are like, hey. We got Snoop. Who else could we get? They're like, Michael Phelps was busted for marijuana. How about we put both of those two in a room together? We're like, what is happening?
Yeah, it was nice to hear because Michael Phelps did. I will say, I listened to him. He did give some really good insight about like, oh, this was a really hard race for me. It's amazing that this swimmer is able to do this, There were so many times that I appreciated it, but I was like, you're a rough one to look at, man. Like that man, his man bun really took me for a twirl.
That's greasy.
That I was not expecting.
It is really greasy.
That was not on my, that was not
I was like,
on my bingo
man,
card.
like that's not a bingo card. We should have bingo cards, pass them out for the Olympics. It was just.
I wonder if people did.
I was like, I looked at Bethany. I was like, am I the only person making the connections here? And she's like, what are you talking about? I was like, Snoop Dogg is known for smoking weed. I was like, and then Michael Phelps got busted for smoking weed. I was like, is this really happening? And then if we are like anti-drugs because we're watching the Olympics, right? Like this is an Olympic event and we're like, hey, we don't like drugs or performance enhancing things or anything like that. And I'm going, is this the message we want to send out? Is this what we're trying to tell people? Like, and then all of a sudden, like, cut to other celebrity or whatever the case is. It was just so greasy.
Yeah, I was not a fan. I was not almost any time that I would watch. And because we're using Snoop Dogg because he, I think, was probably the most prevalent.
Yeah, there were other people there for sure.
Yeah, but like he was just the most prevalent. He was the announcer for the United States. And I almost any time that I saw him pop up on screen, I like would go and find something else to do because I'm not there to watch Snoop Dogg. And it frustrated me too because like when I was watching I think it was gymnastics, they like panned over to I believe Simone Biles' mom and Snoop Dogg is like sitting next to Simone Biles and I'm like, no, this is a proud moment. Stop taking it away from her. Like I felt like Snoop Dogg's presence was like stealing away from the grandeur of which these people, like you said, they have been working for so long.
Yeah.
And the parents, I know for a fact that like Miles plays soccer. And if I'm not saying that he is an Olympian by any means, but like by a weird tiny chance, if he is like asked on the US team, you can guarantee I am not focused on the celebrity sitting next to me. I'm focused on like rooting that kid on. Like that's my baby. You go, get away from me, Snoop Dogg.
Well, and you know that some people are gonna say like, it's really not a big deal. I don't know why you guys are making a big deal of this. It's because a long time ago somebody told me, like, in regards to weddings, like doing weddings, right? They're like, you're the pastor, you're doing the wedding, you're officiating. They're like, you need to be in the photo, but not the front of the photo. They're like, you need to just so people need to remember you were there, but not so prevalent that you take, precedence over.
That you're a conversation piece.
Exactly. Yeah, it was like, oh, Jordan officiated that wedding. He did a great job. Like, that's it. That's all they say. And if we talk to anybody about the 2024 Olympics, some people are going to say, like, Simone, some people are going to talk about some other athletes or whatever the case is, or a specific sport.
Yeah.
But you're going to say Snoop Dogg in there at some level because he was so prevalent and he took so much precedence.
Yeah, and it just drove me crazy.
Yeah, it was greasy.
I didn't see him around like swimming as much, but I honestly, and this goes into my next grease, I was so frustrated because I didn't get to watch a lot of sports because I don't have Peacock. Well, and I don't know. I'll take that back. I have Peacock, like the app, but I don't pay for it. And I'm not going to just pay for it for the Olympics. And I was very frustrated at the fact that if I wanted to watch any and all sports, then I had to do it on an app. This is not something like, it's this whole like, what is it? Capitalism, like capitalizing on the Olympic sport made me so frustrated.
Yeah. Well, I be glad you didn't pay for the Peacock app, because I did, because like my kids, they were like, we want to see this and we want to see it on our time. And I was like, that's totally fine. We can do that or whatever. The app was so glitchy. It was so glitchy.
Was it really?
Well, and like, so for example, there was a couple of parts in the app where they would break down the specific sport, but then at 8:00 every single night, they went to prime time. We didn't get there every night. We're not going to watch the Olympics every single night. We have other things going on in our life. But the nights that we did, they would just hit like kind of the specific sports of the day. And so if you were like, oh, I wanted to see that or whatever, well, first of all, like my kids go to bed. They actually have a bedtime. So it was really, really small and minimal in regards to the amount that they could watch. But at the same time, you had to like go through like the specific thing to figure out like the mark of when your athlete was there. So the only thing, and this is a total complaint, I understand I'm complaining. The only thing I would have loved is to had like an Olympic athlete section. Like, here is the time stamp where,
that's a great idea.
The American is competing, so that you could just jump
like
straight
Katie Ledecky. I want to see what she did.
100%. Or like, I love track and field events. So there was like the track and field events. I just wanted to see the finals. I didn't want to see the semifinals or anything like that. Like, just jump to the finals where this thing ends. So there was a couple of those things, and I feel like it could have been doable because it's in a different time zone. So like when you're, getting to the end of your day or whatever, you could just go ahead and jump to those timestamps and just be like, oh, that's what happened, which is kind of the beauty of, it being held in a different time zone. It's a total complaint. I understand that, but it was still made it a little greasy.
It might be a complaint, but it's actually a really good idea because, like, I felt like track was on primetime too much.
Oh, it was on there a lot, yeah.
I don't mind track, but I felt like it was just track and swimming. And I was like, but I want to see, like, even though I don't know, even though I don't mind those, there are other sports, and I was frustrated because like the US can compete in other sports, we just don't get to see it because it's not like the top sport. I get it, it's money making, yada yada.
Yeah, those
are the sports that everybody is interested in. I just felt like for the last entire week I was like, I'm sick of watching you guys run. You're fast. I get it.
Neat. Good for you.
I'm impressed. But like, I want to watch some other sports, and I don't know that necessarily, I don't think that we needed to watch like the qualifying races and things of that sort. I think like maybe the pre-qualifier, or not, like the race before the final.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been cool. And then the final race.
Yeah.
But I don't need like their training videos.
Yeah. And to be fair, the
Up
price was
to
just so Peacock knows, because I know you're listening. I mean, the price was right. We're talking under $10 for the whole thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, all we did was like, hey, this is, you accept like, oh yeah, I want your service for the rest of my life. And it was like, no, I only want it for a month. And it ended up being like $10. So it was like, whatever, not like a huge deal, but at the same time, it's so saturated. And I don't know how they would fix that, because I mean, you go on the app and you're like, whoa, like there's all these sports and all these different like avenues that you can travel on the sports, and it's like, okay, is what it is. Like, you guys did a good job for what was there, like, and not to move into the graceful things yet, but I was grateful that you could watch it. You know what I mean? That it was there, it was present. You could still watch it. I think even now you can go back and do like all the replays and stuff like that, but spoiler alerts, everybody's already there. Yeah. What? So you sent some crazy videos over to me, but give me like some other great stuff or grease stuff that you had going on.
That breakdancing.
Let's talk about Brazil's breakdancer, which is all over the internet.
I think it was Australia.
Oh, it was Australia. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh man.
I don't know how she made it. Did you watch those?
So I think some countries were like, you know what? Like, we just need to have a representation here. Like, we just need somebody to just go. Like, who wants to go?
Just do your best.
Just like, you kind of know what you're doing, but at the same time, like, you really don't. So we're just gonna send you. I think that's what happened. But that's she
was like just cleaning the floor. Like, it wasn't like dancing. She was just like, hey, you guys got a little bit of dirt all over this floor. I'm just gonna sweep it up for you. It was so bad.
So if you guys have no idea what we're talking about, just go Google Australia breakdance at the Olympics. It's everywhere. You can't miss it. It's all over the place. And here's the thing. We just bombed on Snoop Dogg, but where was he at? Like, that was the moment that he wasn't there. I was like,
I know.
This man.
I was like, he's nowhere to be found. And this is like prime time. This is exactly what you should be.
This is what I'm looking for. Like, so, yeah, you grew up in California. You, obviously, breakdancers are prevalent there. Like, I'm sure they're prevalent all over the place, so don't get mad at me for that. But at the same time, that was one of those moments where I was like, this is where Snoop Dogg should be. Like, if there is a place for him to live at the Olympics, it's breakdancing. I want to hear his commentary.
Breakdancing. Yeah, but I don't know, like, I don't know how Snoop Dogg is. I don't know that if I was there as a commentator that I would have any good things to say, at least about Australia, because I was watching all of the other, like, not all of them, but I was watching the other countries compete, and like, they were legit, and then Australia comes out, and you're like, who is this girl? Like, so then I feel a little bad because the backlash that this poor girl has taken. What's her name? Ray Gunn.
Yeah, she's
not even like a break dancer by trade. She's a teacher.
Oh,
Can you imagine?
Yeah, somebody was like, "Hey, we need help here," and she's like, "I guess."
I took hip hop when I was 4. They're like, "You're in."
I do hip hop aerobics at the Y, so I guess we could do that. Like,
yeah, it was like
somebody threw her into the fire.
Like, controversy.
Yeah, somebody threw her into the fire. Well,
there was controversy about it.
Why? Over what?
Well, so I don't know how factual it is because, like, in life, things have gotten super busy, so I haven't been able to like really read up on it because I was really I was really interested because I was very curious as to how she got in. Like, there was not breakdancing. She just drug her head on the floor like she was like an 18-month-old kid trying to figure out how to walk.
There's a video going around of it's her breakdancing, and then it goes straight to like a kangaroo, and they're doing the exact same like things. I was like, man, this just, you feel sorry for her, right? Because you're never gonna live that down ever. Like, that's.
Yeah, well, and so the controversy apparently was that, like, Australia didn't really have breakdancing. Shocker, because like Australia, they live by the water. They're relaxed. If you haven't listened to our ocean episode, find out why people are relaxed at the ocean. But her husband, I guess, somehow ended up being like one of the judges.
Oh no.
I don't know if this is true. I don't know how much it is true. Said anything on the internet now is like up for debate because I don't know if it's actually real.
Right.
But because then, like, and another thing that I saw, she said that she only practiced for 37 minutes, but she was the one that everybody's talking about, so she did her job.
She did her job. Don't say that.
Did you know that?
No.
That's what she said.
That's not
because
okay.
Everybody's talking about her. And I mean, I guess she's made a name for herself.
I guess.
But I mean, like, so did Al Capone. You know?
Ted Bundy. I mean, we can go down that road if you want to go down that road. Hitler. Like, we could talk about people who are famous for the wrong reasons. You are famous for the wrong reason. Yeah, like, that's not okay.
So that... Yeah, just breakdancing. And so, because of her performance, and I think breakdancing is getting removed.
Oh, no.
Which, like, it's not coming back to the Olympics.
It's over.
But I'm also like, shame on you, Olympics, because do you know the only reason why they brought breakdancing in was because they were trying to appeal to a younger crowd. And I'm like, what younger crowd is excited about breakdancing?
Yeah. Like, well, and so here's the real question: who does it? You know what I mean? Like, where are we breakdancing at? Like, I mean, there's
that was like a thing in the 90s.
Yeah. It's over. Like, who got that in? That's the same table. That guy was at the same table that Snoop Dogg and Michael Phelps were at. That's what happened. They were like,
we're just trying to bring the youth in. What's something that appeals to them?
Well, and Snoop.
I remember hearing a song by Snoop. Let's bring him.
Snoop and Michael Phelps were like, yeah, let's do that. But then they backed out. They're like, we're not going to be there. Like, nope. Like, here's what I would have loved. Like, it kind of segues into this, but I would have loved to have seen this. You know how we talked about having like an average guy compete, like, which there was a commercial, by the way, that just hit home on that. I don't know if you saw it, but there's this guy like in the pool. No. This other guy looks at him and he's like, where's Michael? And he's like, oh, I'm subbing in for him. I mean, just a totally random guy. And he does like a cannonball into the water. It's so good.
That's amazing.
I wish that there was another commentator, like not okay. So you have the serious side of commentating where people are like, oh, you know, he's going the distance. He's breaking the world record. I wish there was another guy that was like, let's just be fully transparent. You and I should have commentated the Olympics.
There's some things I don't remember. I don't know if it's like the Super Bowl. There's something where like Will Ferrell and Molly Shannon have been doing that, and it's so funny. It might be, I don't remember. It might be like the Macy's Day Parade, but they commentate, and it is absolutely hilarious.
We should 100% have like alternative commentators that just like, you got the serious one, you got the funny one, you got like the kind of somewhat funny but serious one. Like, oh, I would have loved to just
that would have been great.
Yeah, like, oh, there's a like track and field thing. Like, are you seeing this girl's fingernails right now? Because they are legitimately 4 inches long.
I know her nails were long. But I was so proud of Sha'Carri.
You know people's names. This is unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay, because this girl, she competed in the last Summer Olympics.
Okay.
And I think she got all the way, and then something happened, and they disqualified her. And it was like this big deal. So this was the first Olympics that Sha'Carri Richards was able to run. Yeah, and it was a big deal because she's a little hood. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that girl,
You could say that. I can't, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, no, like I'm saying, like homegirl, she is not cut from a lot of the same cloths. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so I was like, go you for like that minority group because like she's showing them like you can do it. There was another guy, Lyle
Oh
something,
yeah.
who
He's
was
the
also in track and field.
same guy.
Same situation, and they both are like, you can rise from a lot better than like what you have available to you. Or there was a gymnast who he talked about like, and I'm not turning it into a race thing or anything like that, but like he talked about how he always felt kind of like
Oh, I know what you're
out
talking
of
about. Yeah. I know exactly
he
who you're talking
didn't
about.
fit because like he competed against all Caucasian and like nobody looked like him because he was the only black one. They say it in the Olympics, like,
Yeah.
and so it was this whole thing, and it was just like I think it was a really good representation for people who are growing up in not necessarily like Olympic circumstances,
The most
and
ideal
like showing
situations.
them like, hey, yeah. And so I mean, I guess that's moving into the graceful side of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, her nails. I was like, girl, that's a long nail.
It almost felt like the shorter the distance, the more bling you had to put on. Like the long distance runners, they're like skinny, nothing on their body, like buzzed haircuts.
I just
Guys,
got this weave put on.
yeah. And then you get like short distance. It's like, hey, we're going all out. Like as long as hair as we could possibly get. We got braids. We got necklaces.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is getting legit.
Doesn't that make you less aerodynamic? Does aerodynamics fit into running?
You know, that's what my thought was. Like, I was like, but I guess at 100 yards, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're either faster or not. So, whatever. You did segue in really well, though. Like, some of the graceful side of things, you know, those stories are huge. What are the other kind of graceful things that you had as you were kind of watching things manifest?
Oh man, there were so many. So first and foremost, it was amazing to see Celine Dion sing. And this is like such a like celebrity thing. But Celine, I don't know if you know anything about Celine Dion. You know who Celine?
I mean,
Do you know her?
I don't know her, but there was huge controversy over Celine Dion a few years ago. But anyway, keep going.
Was there? Oh well, I'm just talking about her singing. Like
Okay.
she has been like diagnosed with this super rare disease kind of a thing where like all of a sudden her body will like stiffen up. There's like a whole documentary about it, and she didn't know if she was ever going to be able to sing again. And then she sang, and it was like epic. She sang at the opening ceremony on the Eiffel Tower. It was amazing. And like they weren't sure if she was going to actually be able to sing or not, even up to the day of the Olympics, because her like disease gets heightened because of like stress or excitement or anything like that, and so she has to like remain in like extremely calm atmosphere. And like, how do you stay calm when you're about to sing on the Eiffel Tower in Paris? Like, how do you stay calm for that? And so I just was like, oh, look at her. Like, she's able to like sing and do her thing. So I was just proud for her. Not proud for her, but like happy for her that she was able to do that. It made me.
There were so many things that happened where I was like, this is not possible, right? Like we're all like, there was a couple of moments like I love lifting. Your husband loves lifting too as well. There was a couple moments like because I was watching the lifting meets and whatnot, and I'm like, that's impossible. Like how is his arms not snapping off of his body? Like there were so many of those moments where I looked at Bethany and I said, we're the same, right? Like humanity wise, we are the same.
Yeah.
There's not like Bethany doesn't like when people say like race. She's like, we're the human race. There's one race. And I get what she's saying. And I'm like, so we're all human beings. How is that even possible? Like, it's unbelievable what people could do. I mean,
and the ability to know your body so well.
Right.
Like these athletes have like send their blood in for labs to test like their entire blood system, their entire bodies, and they know like this is, I don't know, it's so much out of my realm of how do you properly feed your body? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it is on a different level. It is impressive. We're the same humans, but like they know every inch of the muscles that they're using
Yeah.
and how they feel. They are so in tune.
It's so dialed in.
It is.
Like, I remember a long time ago, I read an article on Tiger Woods, and a guy was standing. They were doing the article, and Tiger was kind of warming up for some tournament or whatever the case is, and they were talking to his caddy, and his caddy, they were talking about like Tiger's feel, like how he can feel the ball through the club, and he's like, "Is that really a real thing?" And he's like, "Watch this." He's like, "We have 5 balls lined up for Tiger to hit," and he's like, "In the last ball, we're going to change into a different ball that he's not used to that has a different core." And he's like, it's a lot harder than the ball that he hits. And so he's like, I guarantee you he will make a comment on that ball. And so sure enough, like Tiger hits like the first 4, no big deal, puts him on the green. The 5th one he hit, and he looks back at his caddy and he's like, did you put a rock down there? And the caddy looks at the guy who's doing the interview, and he's like 99 out of 100 human beings. He's like, no, not even that. He's like, 9,999 people will hit those golf balls and think they're the same thing. He's like, but he can feel that one golf ball. It's just, there's something.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like there's something in him. I mean, even the gymnast, right? Like you're doing 2.5 flips on a floor. Like for real?
Yeah. On a bar. I mean, like the stuff that they can do on like how wide is the bar?
Yeah, it's so crazy. And then like there was a couple times when like, I mean, this is going to sound so bad, but like when people would eat it and I'd be like, okay, just so I know.
You are normal.
like my, I think Gianna was like, we were watching one time and this gymnast just like missed the bar, went full face down on the floor, and she was like, oh, and I was like, she's human. Like these are not AI robots. Like that happens. And she just got up. The other thing was like too, like they just get up like it's no big deal. Like, it's fine.
Well, because they practice falling.
Yeah. Here's my graceful thing that I think is so interesting. Because I told Bethany this. I said, I guarantee you, let's just take like the 100-meter dash. I guarantee you there's somebody out there in this world who is faster than the people who were at the Olympics. Like, I just guarantee you that there are. But I said there's something to be said about performing underneath, 1, competition, like when everybody's watching you, and then 2, within the rules. Like, so if you just take like normal Joe Blow and you put him on the street and you're like, okay, run, and he just does it. Like he doesn't have to worry about the gun. He doesn't have to worry about anybody. He just does it. Like he's super fast. But you take that same activity, you put it underneath the lights, you put all of these things on there, like it's a totally different story to be able to produce those results with this.
It's a mind game too.
Oh,
because like so there was a behind the scenes, like I think it was right before the opening ceremony. They were kind of, one of the Olympians was like walking through, this is what it's like for us before we go and compete in said sport that we're doing, and she's like touring the behind the scenes and stuff like that. But then before you go out onto the floor that you're going to compete, you have to sit in a super tiny like little meeting, like a break room,
right,
with all of the people that you're competing with for like 10 minutes. I don't know why you have to, but like they make sure that like you're, so this one I think was for swimming, and so they were like, you go into one room and you get checked to make sure that like your swimsuit is to standards and like your goggles are to standards. Like there's nothing that is going to aid you in your performance.
right.
And then you get shuffled into this next room, and in the next room, I don't know, you just like sit there waiting for them to be like, okay, we're ready for you. And so you're sitting there,
yeah,
a basketball game. It's like a world game.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. Like so you have the physical side, cool. The mental side is totally different. Like, how do you not overanalyze all of that? Like, what if my swimsuit doesn't fit right? What if my goggles aren't up to, what if my coach didn't do that? Like, you have to throw all that out the window and be like, I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna do my thing. If it doesn't happen, like somebody, I can't remember who it was. One of the gymnasts had to return their medals, like for something.
Oh no!
Yeah, like I haven't looked it up or looked into it, but they had to like give it back. That's the other thing too. Like, let's say you do this, you get this, all this other stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like, like no, like this really didn't happen.
Just kidding. You're just kidding. Just on you. Wasn't that so funny?
We gave your medal to Snoop Dogg. You're welcome.
Yeah, so the gymnast, speaking of gymnastics, the prime example of like pressure, the men's Olympic team, the U.S. Olympic team had not won in like 14 years or something like that. It could be even more than that.
Right.
And so it comes all down to this one dude. His name is like Steve. I don't like
Steve.
Like sounds like Steve from accounting. I don't remember his name.
We know a Steven in accounting. That's the first name that I thought about. Anyway, go ahead.
We do. So anyways, he's like, the camera pans over to him every once in a while as he's just like waiting for his turn. He only had one thing that he did, and it was the pommel horse. And so the whole team is writing on whether or not this kid is able to successfully pull off his one event. The whole team is writing on it, like making it onto the what's it called? The podium. Making it onto the podium is all down to Steve with the glasses that pans over to him, and he's just sitting in the middle of the competition with his eyes closed. I don't know what, but just thinking of like being in his mind, and like he just so casually just gets up when it's his turn to go on the pommel horse, takes his glasses off, and just
nails it. Just nails it.
Pommel horse.
He's like, what is happening?
What a great example of like he was able to overcome that like mental game. I don't know if I'd be able to do that.
Yeah,
that's like the mental game is.
For as popular as the girl was that from Australia that broke dance, it was the same with the guy with the gun that was a shooter.
The Turkish dude.
The Turkish guy. Like, if there is a graceful thing that I was like, this is the hope right here. Like, this is the guy. Like, if there is a person who was placed that's a normal human being, they had to like convince this guy to do it too. His backstory is fantastic. He shows up. He's like, everybody's in like all this garb. Like they have all.
He's gotta be a sniper.
He's just like, I'll do it. Like that guy was the same as the Australian girl, but he was like actually good at what he does. He's like,
because everybody was like, who is this guy?
Yeah, like he just comes out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, that is no. I mean, I'm pretty sure he took off like his New Balance, lawn mowing shoes.
He was mowing his grass.
Yeah, and he like
to some all-in oats. Somebody was like, hey man, we need somebody to shoot for the Turkish team. Are you in?
He took off his polo and they gave him like he's like, all right, I'll do it. And he just stood there. I'm like, this is what I want to see. Now, here's the other thing. Like, just to throw it out there, where's Snoop Dogg and Michael Phelps for that one? I'm like, these are the places you guys need to be because this is unbelievable.
Yeah, that was quite impressive.
I was like, man. Go ahead.
I wish. Well, did I lose you?
Yeah, I caught none of that. Try again. I was just waiting. I was like, it's all right.
Oh man, technical error. No, I was just saying I wish that it would honestly be that easy to shoot.
Oh,
Like,
man.
he just made it so effortless looking.
There is so many things that I was just like, that is impressed. Like, that's a true, again, we're all humans. How in the world is this even possible? Like, how is this transpiring? There were so many moments where I was like, this is nuts. Like, absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
But
I had a lot of those. So I was watching rugby, which goes into another graceful aspect. It is not a graceful sport by any means. I need to like look up the rules for rugby. Do you know how to play rugby?
yeah, so actually, it was funny because we were watching rugby and the girls are like, this sport is weird. And I was like, no, it's not. I said, this is an unbelievable sport because I follow the New Zealand All Blacks. So I've known about rugby for a long time. But go ahead.
It has popped up every once in a while. And like, as algorithms go, like then you kind of are introduced to it more and more. And Ilona Mayer, she's one of the U.S. team women's
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
rugby players. Yeah, so she's really been like bringing light to the sport. But I was watching it and I was like, this feels like a sport that came about because like a bunch of Irishmen were like having a pint at the bar and then we're like, let's go play a game. And they were like, well, I play football. And somebody else was like, well, I play soccer. And somebody else was like, well, I play hockey. And they all were like, let's make a game.
We're going to do a game.
It was I don't understand the rules. It fascinates me. And the amount of physical capabilities that you need to play that sport is astounding.
It's unbelievable. Well, and the thing,
mad respect for rugby players.
The thing about it too is if you watch rugby, like there's no pads, and they say there's tons of articles about this, but they say like football, hockey, things like that where you wear pads are actually more dangerous because you're almost encouraging like the speed and stuff like that, where they're like in rugby, like people get hurt but not like get hurt, you know, at other things because they've removed the pads. Like it's almost like those pads have done more harm than good because
it's made all you people wimps. If you wear pads in your sport, you're a giant baby.
Nothing against you football or hockey players, but I mean personally I wouldn't mess with a rugby player. That's all I'm saying. Like I would not mess around with that person. So
no, because I've seen them. You say that, but like I'm like, are you sure? Because I've seen them like body some people.
Oh well, like there was. So the women's rugby was on, and
like I'm gonna carry you.
Jonna walks in the room. I think it was Jonna. She walks in the room, and the women are playing. She's like, "Whoa."
Yeah, it's intense.
I was like, she's like, "Are these girls?" And I was like, "I think so." And she's like, "Okay," you know, just like taking it in, like, "Okay, this is happening."
Yeah,
you know?
But I will say, like, with as big and burly as those women are, I will say one of my big graces from rugby is Ilona Mayer. Once again, she has really like spoke into body positivity for girls,
right?
For young girls, which is, I don't have daughters, so like I don't have to deal with that as much. But I'm sure you have two girls who are super self-conscious about like what they look like, and I know that like we're taught that it's not just our physical appearance, but you know, like girls are girls. And so are guys. I'm not saying that guys are completely out of this, but like you get kind of self-conscious. And here comes Ilona Mayer, and she is like this burly chick. And she's like, but I'm still feminine. Like, and I very much appreciated her like talking about how like you can be strong. You can be a strong female.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to be strong. I very much appreciated that, just as somebody like who has been a middle school girl to have somebody who was like, hey, I got big bones too.
There's a couple of girl CrossFit athletes that they have an organization. I think it's called like Girls Who Eat or something like that. Like, and basically like that's just what they're saying is like, we can still eat, and be healthy and physical and all that stuff, and still be girls too. So there's that to say.
I very much appreciate that, like getting spread to, and none of them are obese. So like, I'm not saying that everybody is like pushing that, but they're pushing like health.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. They're just, and this is what a healthy body looks like.
Yeah.
Kind of a situation. So I very much appreciated that.
Okay, Kim, we got to land the plane and park the car. So,
I have so many other greases.
I know there's so much to unpack here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave the door wide open and let people kind of weigh in on what they thought. Because if there is an episode to comment on, this would be that episode.
It would be.
We know that you tuned in. We know that you watched. What did you think of Snoop Dogg? What did you think of Michael Phelps's man bun? What did you think about, some of these athletes that are absolutely outstanding to watch? We want you to share your thoughts with us. So, if you have any stories or questions or anything like that, you can always drop us a line at greaseandgracepod@gmail.com.
Talk to us about Fiji. Fiji's been they were singing every night in the Olympic village. They sang like hymns.
Really?
Beautiful. Yeah. I have a TikTok. I'll have to send it to you. I know you don't have TikTok, but I'll have to send it to you because it was like this gorgeous, angelic sounding choir.
That's interesting.
That they just sang, and that's part of Fiji culture apparently. Like every night in Fiji, they all like get together and sing to the glory of God. Beautiful. Beautiful.
It's like the hakas from rugby. Love those. I cry in those every time. Bethany's like, "What are they doing?" I'm like, "It's so cool." She's like, "This is weird." I'm like, "No. This is really neat."
They look mad, but it's really good.
Yeah. It's kind of a cool thing when people come together to do stuff like that. I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of legit." Mm-hmm. So pay some homage. Anything you want to hear, Kim, from people or no?
No, I mean, just like what sports did you enjoy watching? What did you think about the opening ceremony? What did you think about the commentary? All of the things that we talked about. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Just make sure that you're sending it to graceandgracepod@gmail.com. And we actually ended on a perfect note because next week we are speaking of talking about self-conscious and all of those things, talking about school clothes and fashion.
We're going to hit on fashion. Kim and I, if you didn't know, Kim and I are big in fashion. So there is a lot of things to say there. So it's going to be...
I have a lot of styles.
It's going to be... I think we both do. Like, if you know us, there's... on the surface, you'd look at us and be like, really? And then after next week's episode, you're going to be like, oh... okay. And then you'll be like, that makes sense. So there'll be that too as well.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends and family. We think the audio did okay today. Obviously, Kim cut in and out a few times, but not enough to matter. And we'll do our best to get back into our studio next week so that you guys have audio from both of us.
Yeah, I think we'll have that. This will not happen often. This was solely because I just completely forgot that we had changed the schedule. We have a normal set time. So my apologies to Jordan, to all of you for having to listen to my car make turn signals and telling me that I'm driving over the line.
You know what? If you're traveling and you're listening to this podcast, it's just like Kim sitting right next to you. So you're all good. It's all good. Until next time, though, we'll talk to you real soon. Bye.